Hi, I'm Ricky Pryor, editor of the Richmond Register, and tonight on the Priority Report, we're going to be learning more about Carter G. Woodson, an alumni of Berea College and the father of Black history.
The Priority Report is brought to you by Cumberland Valley National Bank, trusted for banking, known for caring. Visit them at cvnb.com. Chenault Vineyards, a place to create beautiful experiences. Visit them online at chenaultvineyards.com. Shelter Insurance, Ashley Kovaleski. Give her a call, 859-624-0883, located 112 Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Whitaker Bank, uniquely Kentucky, and kymedia.net.
It's an incredible array of materials from one of America's most prominent Black historians. Because he was a graduate of Berea College, he had a continuing interest with the college. And I pulled a number of letters that he wrote over the years to college administrators. And here's a letter from March 21st, 1908, his own handwriting. He was writing to President Frost of Berea College.
Oh, wow.
Somewhat recalling his experiences here, but then asking the president to give him a good recommendation to go on in his studies.
That's excellent.
You can touch that. It's in
Oh, okay. So
a sleeve. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my plan is to teach after receiving my master's degree.
You see, he was writing from Chicago.
Unless my friends rally to support.
Mm-hmm.
So he was worried. He was really worried that
Of course.
he wouldn't have a very good position unless he had, you know, some other scholars say come forward.
Exactly.
Well, obviously he didn't have any problem getting the support, so
And
that's great.
There were not many Black scholars officially in academia at that time, but President Frost and the school was his way of getting support for his further desires. Yeah.
I love how he's so humble. Since I left Berea, I have accomplished at least a little.
Mm-hmm.
That is so awesome.
Mm-hmm. And this is just 5 years after he graduated. So he's still a fairly recent graduate.
That's amazing.
He got teaching experience in the Philippines before going back to grad school.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Again, in the Philippines, they might hire a Black teacher.
Right.
And here, except for like Black high schools,
Right.
and the occasional Black colleges, there was very little opportunity. So this was March. Here's a letter in June of 1908. So following up,
St. Louis Public Schools.
mm-hmm.
He said, the effort of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The deck was stacked against him in many ways.
One of these positions pays about, what is that, $3,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money.
It was in 1908.
Yeah. And the other, not much less.
Now, I don't know about you, but after I graduated from college, I never wrote a personal letter to the president of my college.
No.
I think this speaks a lot about the relationship that students and faculty and administrators had in a smaller college setting. And,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't write the president, especially after you've been gone for quite a bit.
For
you
5
know?
years. But he assumes, and he was right, that the president of the college remembered him.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing.
Okay, from September of the same year, he writes back again. And We don't have the letters that President Frost wrote to him. Wish we had those.
Oh, yeah.
But this is part of an ongoing conversation. So here, Berea College has, in 1908, made an offer to give him an honorary master's degree.
Wow.
He was already proving himself sufficiently for the college to consider that action.
That's amazing.
That would be like a, an honorary doctorate today.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you'll have to read the letter to see whether he is interested in that or not.
Yeah, but I would feel just as proud of the same honor from Berea College.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Now, an interesting thing, this handwriting is not too bad.
No, it's not. It's
Especially
very
for
legible.
a PhD.
Yeah.
Not too bad. A lot of students are not taught to read cursive writing these days. So that's something we have to help them with and encourage them to try to learn if they're going to read letters from the past.
Now, his parents were former slaves
Yes.
and were they illiterate as well? Or, I mean, because he's very much in his younger years self-taught, correct?
Correct. I can't speak to their level of literacy. Maybe Jessica can.
Okay.
The assumption is that they had no formal education and little informal education. But that's just a general assumption, as it was illegal in the South to teach slaves to read and write.
But to have your son go and get master's degrees and be able to have the confidence to write presidents of colleges and to write so well, like you said, it's very, very legible writing. It's not too crazy. That's interesting, though, that's a topic that you have to talk to with students who aren't used to seeing cursive.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Wow.
a skill that they now teach in graduate school, how to read cursive writing,
Oh,
which
wow.
is something you and I learned at a younger age.
Yes. Well, and it's kind of funny because, as a journalist, I was taught shorthand writing. So in different methods of shorthand writing. And now if I do it, the younger journalists are like, what is that? I'm like, you don't teach shorthand anymore?
My grandfather was a typing and shorthand teacher.
Oh, wow.
And now when we receive notes in the archives that are in shorthand, we have to scramble to find anyone who can translate them for us because it's not being taught today.
Right, yeah.
It's like a dead language almost.
Yeah, it is, because some people are like, is that hieroglyphics? I'm like, it's shorthand. Everybody used to know this. But so that's fascinating to see. This is kind of a lost art in a way.
It is. But if we're going to understand the past, we have to read what people wrote.
Right.
And often that is in handwriting, unless they get published.
Yeah, that's true. Which he did, thank goodness.
Now this is a little later. This is 1946, so quite a few years
Wow,
later. Yeah. He died in 1950, so this is just 4 years before he died. And just a short business letter we have on the back what President Hutchins wrote to him. Was it, I'm sorry,
Yes.
was it Hutchins?
Hutchins. Yes.
Yeah,
Francis Hutchins.
For whom this library is named.
I have made a clipping of all of the items for Mr. Wilson Evans, our alumni secretary. Makes me very proud to know that your early education was in Berea. Some things never change because he says this summer has been exceedingly busy. Most of our problems seem to relate to securing adequate staff for the autumn. I know these problems are shared by all other institutions. So funny.
Yeah, he didn't mention parking. That wasn't a problem yet, but
Right.
that's what every college is lacking today.
Exactly. So this is a congratulations letter
Yes.
from President Hutchins to Carter G. Woodson. And this is his thank you. Thank you so much for your letter of congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow.
In this case, we have both parts of the correspondence.
That's so great. How did you receive these and this collection, and why is it here in like Berea?
Okay.
I would assume that someone as accomplished as Carter G. Woodson was, that he has many things in different institutions and places.
Sure. I'm sure his primary archives are elsewhere, but these are actually part of the institutional records of the college.
Okay.
So that is probably why we don't have the letters from President Frost. He sent those letters, and Carter Woodson might have saved them, and then they'd be part of his archive. These are part of the Berea College archives. So
that's
letters
great.
that came in would have been saved. And I would guess they knew at the time that these were important for posterity. But every letter that was brought into the president's office was saved, not
So
just
great.
Carter Woodson's. And the books the library has purchased or been given over the years. You notice at the end it says Berea on most of these. We have a book collection here on books by Bereans and about Berea. And of course we consider him a Berean because he was part of our community.
And obviously, you're right, kept very much in touch and very, very much was interested in the college even after he had left.
And the college was proud of him.
Yes, obviously. I mean, you're sending congratulation letters. I mean, from 1908 to 1946, that there's still that relationship there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
New president, but same
Right.
relationship.
And how nice would that have been to see this? To see, your student with this nice letterhead.
Exactly. I mean,
Director and editor,
Exactly.
Carter G. Woodson. Wow.
he was the founder of the association and of the two journals.
That's so great.
And, Mary McLeod Bethune is on the executive council. Come on. Talk about big players.
It's amazing. Well, I love the representation. We've got Lucy Hartham Smith from Lexington,
Right.
from Chicago, obviously people from Harvard and Detroit, but also, Virginia State College, Tallahassee, Florida. I mean, the executive council is made up of different areas, Daytona, Florida. So, I mean, that's a lot of different entities from different places making up this council, which is really interesting, especially for that time. It had to have been hard to get a hold of that many people in different areas.
Well, but it is true, and people may not have thought about this, but there were black scholars interested in black history all over the country. It just wasn't a field of study, an academic field of study, until Carter Woodson pushed the envelope and said, we need this. This is America's story. It's not just our story. And who is better to document it and to summarize it than African Americans?
Yes. Excellent. It's kind of funny where it's the idea comes and then it grew. I mean, grew beyond him very much so. We're still celebrating Black History Month right now in February today because of this person's idea and goal and dream. That's
Exactly.
awesome. I love that Berea was so proud of.
Yeah. So every Friday this month, we want people to come down here. They can choose any of the books. They can look at the letters. And I seriously just want them to spend an hour reading something they haven't read before, exploring what he wrote and how he wrote. Is the language outdated? Are the concepts not current? It's good to know all that. Or what he was saying 50 or 100 years ago, is that still something we need to think about and work on?
Now, you said it was so important to you for people to actually read the words written by the person, this primary source, this account. Could you explain that a little bit further for me about why the Friday Finds is important and why is it that these are kept and opened up to the public so that they can read and
Absolutely.
come in?
Well, archives are all about primary resources. And this is the gist of it. There's no one who can tell you about Carter G. Woodson better than the man himself. And even though he's no longer alive, his writings can still speak to us. If you're going to evaluate the importance of a thought or a person, you need to go back to the source, and not just what you've heard about them, but dig into what they actually wrote, what they said, and evaluate that.
And now, have you noticed any kind of changes in his thought or approach to anything in through the letters and the written works that we have here?
I've not done an analysis that way, but I will tell you, we put the books in chronological order.
Okay.
So that you might get a sense of how his own craft developed over the years, and how the field of study developed over the years.
Excellent. Well, that's great. That's that's handy. So you can start at the beginning and go in. Excellent.
Come and read a chapter or two. And you know, some of these books are available upstairs or in local public libraries, maybe in modern editions. But so if you get started on a book here, look for it at the Madison County Libraries. If they don't have it, go through interlibrary loan. You can finish that book, or come down here anytime and we'll get the book out for you. We don't just serve the college, we're very concerned about serving the community as a whole. Our archival program here documents Berea, Madison County, and all of Appalachia.
That's great. Well, I mean, I've worked in libraries, and I've often heard that, you know, the library is the place that if it's not open, it's not doing its job.
Right.
You don't hold on to information, you give it away.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
I love the Friday finds. I love that you guys are making it easy for people to open up and come in and research or just learn and just look at all the fabulous things you have here, which we talked about it being a treasure hunt. Would you show the treasure that you found from you said 1991? Was it 1991? The quilt?
Oh, yes. Sure. This quilt was in a box in the back, and I searched our catalog and just found an entry for Carter Woodson, and it just said it's a big box. I had no idea what was in the box till I opened it up, and there was a quilt in there, all folded up. A quilt made by high school students in 1991 who were part of the Carter G. Woodson Institute. They clearly had learned about his life that summer and found a handcraft way to honor him that today we're bringing out for our Friday finds.
And no one was it had been kind of lost in the archives for a bit until you found it when you were getting ready to do this program.
Well, we preserve treasures like this, informational treasures, for the day in the future when they're needed. And this is the right time for this item to come out of storage and be viewed by a lot of people. I hope a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I think so. Oh, and there's a lot of symbolism. Actually, when we flipped it over to the back, you can see there was a lot of attention to detail of the colors of the quilt, and a lot of symbolism in the quilt that these students, I guess, were so inspired that they made sure that this was very thought out to put together this piece of artwork in honor of Carter G. Woodson.
I think it supplements the books very well.
I do too. I do, because I mean it's a patchwork. From the letters to the books, it's a patchwork of this man and his life, and we're all incorporated into it together, because here we are still talking about him years and years and years later and what he accomplished.
Exactly. And let's say this: when this is hanging, this design looks very three-dimensional. They look like 3D boxes all around, and I hope that's what we can inspire with people who come to visit. Not just a surface or one level understanding of Carter Woodson, but a 3D understanding, a deeper understanding as a scholar and as a man of Berea College.
Excellent. This is well preserved too. I mean, this is amazing, from 1991. I know it's not been that long, but it is still some time ago.
Not a traditional quilt, it's more of a quilted wall hanging.
It's amazing.
They were celebrating him in 1991, we're still celebrating him today.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here are our stacks for the archives.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to get a picture of this.
Rows of books, rows of boxes of raw data, documents of all kinds, images, recordings, papers.
That's amazing. Look at that.
There it is.
So that's where the box where the quilt was.
That's where the box was. It's just labeled Quilt Carter G. Woodson. So I pulled it out, took it out to the table. Found the quilt folded up inside.
Wow. And it was just on a listing, I guess. You were
Right.
just looking for everything that was related to Carter G. Woodson, and then
Exactly. So
Here's
this had been indexed by his name at one time, but really there was no information about it. We'll gather more information before we put it away.
Oh, that's great.
Measurements and colors and the names of the people who made it, things
That's
like that.
amazing.
They should all be in that index. Because one of the students might come back and say, I helped make this, and we could look that student's name up and
That's
find
excellent.
it.
Thank you so much for watching tonight's Priority Report. Join me next week when I tell you more news you need to know about.
The Priority Report is brought to you by Cumberland Valley National Bank. Trusted for banking, known for caring. Visit them at cvnb.com. Chenault Vineyards, a place to create beautiful experiences. Visit them online at chenaultvineyards.com. Shelter Insurance, Ashley Kovaleski. Give her a call, 859-624-0883, located 112 Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Whitaker Bank, uniquely Kentucky. And kymedia.net. Download the Richmond Register News app on your favorite device or sign up and subscribe online at richmondregister.com.